What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. It is the 21st day of November, and here we are below $2. Can you believe it? Sitting here at $1.88 right now. 7 hours, 40 minutes left in this day, you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. So, my $1.90 to $1.95 call for support did not hold, did it? We did break below $2. That much was true, but $1.82 is where we've gone so far for the low. And I do use the word so far to imply that it might not be over. We might have lower to go, right? Until we see some serious recovery in Bitcoin, the Mac Daddy, and maybe some other altcoins that are leaders in this space, XRP could very well go lower. And if we're looking at this here, with that being said, let's not forget, okay, from the high, the all-time high in July, to where we are now, we're down a solid 50%. At any moment, XRP could see some massive recovery. You could move back up to 240, and you could still come back down. So is it a good time to sell right now? No, probably not. Is this a good time to buy? Probably, retrospectively, even if we do go lower from here immediately, because the bounce will be so epic that even if it doesn't see a higher high, you'll likely go from like $1.88 to something that's worthwhile to hold on to. But I want to look at the short-term stuff, see if we do have lower to go, if we can find some compelling reasons to find support here or not. First and foremost, actually looking at this low to high pivot right here, we did just skim the golden ratio. We just missed that, so perhaps that's an argument to go back down to about $1.80, maybe. We'll see. Looking at the 1 hour time frame here, zooming in, looking at our indicators, our handy dandy indicators, we do have bullish divergence on the 1 hour RSI. You can see that here between this low here and this low there. And we have a bounce, a nice little double bottom bounce here. So definitely a shift in momentum in the RSI. And I think that we could consistently move sideways, but likely even moving sideways in the RSI would likely promote lower prices because of the bearish readings that we have. So higher highs here. We had our bullish divergence. That move has probably played out already. Technically, this divergence formed here at about $1.98. So technically, the call should be that we move up a little bit, maybe right below $2, right above $2, right there at $2, move up to that price, and then we come down. Maybe we go exactly to $2.05. I don't know. I wouldn't expect that we break above $2.05, or that if we do, that we wouldn't go too much above there. Okay, and then we likely come back down. The question is, when we come back down, do we see a higher low or do we see a lower low? Right. If we see a lower low, we're set up for bullish divergence. If we see a higher low, we're set up to bounce off the oversold zone. There's some good things that are implied there. Stochastics would suggest we move up more from here, right? Right now on the 1 hour. That just agrees with the idea that we move up first and then maybe we move down. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame. The MACD, we're not really getting too much off of this, right? A little bit of bullish divergence, and not really, technically no, but not much off of this. Overall, it's a bearish MACD. 4 hour time frame. Looking at this, hold on, man. I gotta clear out my throat. Hold on. Okay, I think that did it. 4 hour time frame here. The RSI is abysmal, absolutely devastating, is what it is. If we look at this with a horizontal line, we haven't been this low in the RSI since October 30th. And what happened on October 30th? We found a pivotal low, of which we still went lower. Then we formed some bullish divergence, and then we had a little recovery that took us back basically to these same areas. So again, just the thought here is that not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Even if you buy and we go lower, we're likely going to come back in a short amount of time too. This is on the 4 hour time frame. So understand, right, the 30th, that was the last time that we saw readings this low on the RSI on the 4 hour time frame like we do now. It was right here. Okay. 30th. Let's say you bought this low because for whatever reason right here, you're like, it's at a very low point in the RSI. I'm just going to buy here blindly. Just like we would maybe right here. If you bought this low for about a day, you were happy. And then from like the 3rd of November until the 9th of November, you were unhappy. So you're unhappy for about a week, but then it came back up. You had multiple opportunities to sell in profits, right? So again, as far as risk to reward goes, I think we are at a pretty safe place to buy, but even still, it can go lower. It can go lower, and as long as you hold, I think that it will come back. That doesn't mean that it will go lower just because it did last time. But again, we were at this exact level last time, and we still did go lower. We're a little bit more beat up. Here, this was a run from the overbought zone, where here we've been hanging out in these areas for a while. So we're a little bit more beat up now than we were here, to be fair. But still, The time before that we saw this low of a reading or lower was all the way back here. And what did we do? We actually hung out in this area for a little bit, formed some bullish divergence. Then we moved up and moved lower. Moved up and then we moved lower. So again, this idea that this right here, this price right now has to be the low, I think is wrong. I don't think it is the low. But I wouldn't be surprised if over the coming days, maybe over the weekend, it is Friday, maybe sometime between now and next week, we do move back up to, prices that are around $2, maybe even more, maybe move up to like $10, or sorry, $2.10 and find resistance at prior support here. Maybe. But I do expect we'll come back down. I do expect we will see prices that are probably even lower than where we are now. And if we take this pivot here, this most discernible pivot from a low to a high, the golden ratio awaits at about $1.80.5. If we come back down, we form a double bottom. It's a slightly lower low. We could get some bullish divergence on the 4-hour, on the daily, blah, blah, blah. It would look good. It would make sense. Could we go lower? Absolutely we could. And we'll talk about that. But I do want to put a line right here to mark that $1.80 level. I'll just mark that real quick because that's the golden ratio, the potential low that we might have after a little bounce and then a little recoil. Looking at this on the daily time frame. The MACD is sad, the stochastics are sad, and the RSI, you guessed it, it's sad. They're all sad, all very, very sad. Nothing to go off of here as far as bullish implications go. So let's look at the 3-day time frame real quick. I want to look at this from a low to a high. That 886 is right there too. I'll tell you what, if we don't find support at $1.80, we will likely find support at $1.77. Somewhere between $1.80 and $1.77, that's where I think the ultimate low will be. We'll probably recoil a little bit and then come back down. If I'm wrong, if we are not to go lower, if instead we bounce and this is the real deal and we just go to new all-time highs from here, we'll know that I'm wrong finally once we close above $2.21. If we close a day above 221, the golden ratio here from this low back in April to the high that we had in July of this year, if we close back above $2.21 on a daily basis, I would say at that point, this is the low. We're not going lower, and it's time to party, time to celebrate. If we move up above 221 and we close back below it, that's not the same thing. We have to close above it. You can't close below it. Even if you wick above it, it doesn't count. Okay. So the expectation here is $1.77 to $1.80 for support. We're at $1.89 now. We will likely move up to about $2, $2.10, somewhere in that range, and then pull back to this area, giving us an overall double bottom, slightly lower low. And we should have recovery after that. Until then, that's basically the thoughts there, guys. I know that we've been talking about for a long time. We've been talking about the $13 to $17 price area. And I do want to say, while we're still in this range, I do want to say that we have not broken out of this range yet. So everything stays the same. Whoops. Everything stays the same as far as my expectations for the target goes. The only difference here is that with this calamitous aftermath, the carnage that we're seeing in the markets right now, it's likely not going to happen in the same time frame that we were expecting. I've been thinking that we would see $13 or more. For the past couple of months, I've been thinking that it would be sometime in either December to January. And lately, we've been saying probably by the end of January. Now it's looking like it might be later in Q1. It could even be Q2 until we see this. Because when Bitcoin drops this way, you guys, typically what doesn't happen is we don't move up like this. We don't get a drop like this and then we move up like this. Typically what happens is we get a little move up and then we're stagnant. And we might even get a lower low. We're really stagnant for about a month and a half or two. And then we move up. We've got about a month and a half left in this year, so it really could be 2026 before Bitcoin or crypto is even ready to show life again. Let alone it might be a whole month from now in December. Let's say it's a half month from now. It'll still be December before we show life and what we're just consolidating. Bitcoin won't even be at new all-time highs by the end of the year. I doubt XRP will be at 13 bucks or higher by the end of January. This target area is still holding. Or sorry, this consolidation area is still holding. Therefore, our next target area is still holding. The timing of it is the only thing that's changed. I want to be clear with that, okay? Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Do not FOMO at $2, $2.10 even. But if we do close a day above 221, I would FOMO hard. I'd be the most flamboyant FOMO on the planet right there. We'd have a FOMO parade, and I would buy a giant FOMO looking butterfly, and we would buy some XRP at that level. Should we go to 221 or higher on a daily closing basis? We'll all turn into FOMophobics right there. Anyways, or that wouldn't be right, would it be? FOMO enthusiasts, FOMophiles. Anyways, hit the like button. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.